their seat, we'll begin. Good evening. I am Shannon Carlisle Huggins, class of 91, and I will be hosting you this evening. Mistress of Ceremony, I think is what it says in the program. We'd first like to start off with some special guests. And I would ask if you would all stand for the alma mater and then remain standing. We will have an invocation.
Where the eagle builds her eyrie on the hilltop high, nobly stands our alma mater pointing to the sky. Ozarks, Ozarks, home we love, loud thy praises be. We thy faithful sons and daughters pledge our loyalty. Hail to thee, our alma mater, torch of truth and light, guardian of the nation's honor, emblem of her might. Ozarks, Ozarks, home we love, loud thy praises be. We thy faithful sons and daughters pledge our loyalty. When thy golden purple banner calls o'er land and sea, on the wings of love's devotion we'll come back to thee. Ozarks, Ozarks, home we love, loud thy praises be. We thy faithful sons and daughters pledge our loyalty. Oh, we thy faithful sons and daughters pledge our loyalty.
Wow. I'd like Wendy Blackwood to come up and provide the invocation, please.
Good evening. If you'll please join me in prayer. Lord, we thank you for bringing us together this evening to celebrate our alumni and their accomplishments. We are grateful to you for our safe travels and the opportunity to connect with old friends and professors and to make new relationships on this beautiful campus. Thank you for the paths you set each of us on that gave us the opportunity to obtain an education, lifelong friends, and be a part of the legacy of our university. Our hearts reach out to those who are unable to be here tonight. Bless the university and the benefactors and those who organize this weekend's events. Keep those here participating safe and in good health. Please give us the ability to remain humble before you and to look to you for guidance as we depart from this weekend and move forward on our journeys. Allow us to be mindful and remain Allow us to be mindful and remain in the moments to experience fun and joy this weekend for combined unity, wisdom, and determination to further the mission of the university. In your name we pray. Amen.
You may be seated. Want to welcome everybody once again. Welcome, and as we say, welcome home, as this is a home gathering for all of us. And we are so glad you're here. This may be your first event of Alumni Weekend, or this whole weekend, or maybe you've had some activities that you participated in so far today. There are lots of things going on, and I hope you've enjoyed what we've had so far. And there's many more things to come tomorrow. We have several activities that we did. What I want to specifically point out is that we had a celebration of the class of 1969, 1959 and 1949. Is that amazing? That is exciting for us. I wanted to give you a few instructions for eating, and then we'll go ahead and get into that because it's a big room and 4 lines for us to eat. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off in kind of rows, and we'll let the front row start first. There are 4 lines for food. If you will please start lining up in all 4 lines. We will try to get this moving as quickly as possible for everybody. There's a cash bar here in the back, restrooms out in the hallway, but your food is here, and we will get started. After that, after we've eaten for a while, we will come back up here and start with the presentation. So I would like to ask this whole first row if y'all will stand up and start walking over there, and we will get started. Thank you. I wanted to make a few introductions before we move on to the awards. And first today, I wanted to go over was our 2019 Homecoming Ambassadors. These students were chosen based on a number of criteria, including school spirit, school pride, campus involvement, and dedication to the Ozarks. They went through an application process and interview. I'd like to introduce them now, and as I call your name, if the ambassador would stand, they are going to be an integral part in helping with the awards distribution today. So our freshman representatives are Lindy and Dylan. If you would please stand. Our sophomore representatives are Sade and Asias. Our junior representatives are Christy, Crystal, and Ricky. Thank you. And our seniors are Marshall and Rebecca. On Saturday, all homecoming ambassadors will be recognized during the homecoming ambassador ceremony taking place at 2:30 on Hury Soccer Field. The ceremony will take place in between the men's and the women's soccer game. So we look forward to all of you coming out and seeing them, cheering on the soccer team, and seeing the presentation during homecoming weekend. This is an alumni and sports Hall of Fame banquet, and so what I wanted to first do is ask if there are any current Alumni Association board members to please stand and be recognized. And if there are any former Alumni Association board members that are present, if you would please stand and be recognized. Now we're going to move on to the awards. So I would first like to ask Ian Bryan to please come forward and do the presentation of the Young Alumni Achievement Award.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ian Bryan, and I'm class of 2013. And tonight it is with great honor to present this award to not only a good friend, but also a teammate of mine while I was here at the university. So tonight I would like to present the Young Alumni Achievement Award to Bo Thomas, class of 2014. He is the recipient of the 2019 Young Alumni Achievement Award, given in honor of an alumnus under the age of 35 who has gained recognition in his or her chosen profession. Thomas is a co-founder and chief operating officer of NatureBacks, a Northwest Arkansas-based e-commerce adventure lifestyle brand. And at this time, I wanted to put in a little pitch. If you have some time this weekend, stop by the library and check out some of his clothing line and even make you a little purchase. A native of Mountain Home, Arkansas, Thomas graduated with honors from Ozarks in 2014 with a degree in environmental science and political science. He was also a member of the university's baseball team. Soon after graduating from Ozarks, Thomas and his best friend began traveling the country to start their business and to inspire people to experience the moment. 3.5 years later, NatureBacks is headquartered in Fayetteville and is growing to a team of 27 to inspire more adventures. In his free time, Thomas enjoys traveling, hiking, music festivals, disc golf, and simply sitting on his porch. At this time, I'd like to present the Young Alumni Achievement Award to Bo Thomas.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you, President Thunderwood, the University of the Ozarks, the alumni board. Thank you, everyone who came to support me. My beautiful mother, business partner, Matt Frasick, best friend, my beautiful girlfriend, Morgan. Thank you so much, just really and truly. Thank you. If I can say one thing, just like in the next week, go out and see a sunset. Like, just go have a moment outside. I don't want to say anything else, but like, go see the stars, go see a sunrise, a sunset. Just go have a moment. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, George Pittenger will come up and make the next presentation.
Good evening. I am George Pittenger, 1991 grad. Ananias A.B. Blocker, a 1970 graduate, is the recipient of the 2019 Alumni Merit Award for meritorious work on behalf of his alma mater. An accounting and business administration major at Ozarks, A.B. went on to have a 43-year career in business and management in New Jersey and Maryland after leaving Ozarks. He spent 26 years as a manager for Digital Equipment Corporation, DEC, before joining Mantech International Corporation as a program manager from 2002 until his retirement in 2013. Despite being on the East Coast, AB stayed involved with Ozarks, serving 3 decades as one of the leaders of the university's Black Alumni Association. Throughout their work, they helped improve conditions on campus for Black students and created scholarships for minority students. AB and his first wife, alumna Myrtis Watson Blocker, were married for 42 years before she passed away in 2009. AB, who played tennis at Ozarks, remained active in the sport, even serving as a youth tennis instructor. He has also recently turned a hobby of making his homemade barbecue sauce into an online business called A.B.&C Southern Barbecue Sauce. AB has a son, Ananias Blocker III, and 2 grandchildren, Philip and Lindsay. AB and his wife, Cherry, married in 2016. Please welcome Ananias A.B. Blocker.
Good evening. This is a momentous occasion for me. I want to try not to get weak or shed some tears, but I may. So if you can bear with me, I would appreciate that. I may take a little longer than I need to or I want to, so just bear with me. But tonight is a very significant event for me. I am very proud to say that In 1970, I graduated from here. I came here in 1966 on a bus from Georgia. Okay, and it was the turning point of my life to spend 4 years at the Ozarks, not knowing anything about where I was going or how I was going to survive, but I did. And it would have been a wonderful 4-year experience. But what I would like to do is to introduce my wife, Cherry. I would like to acknowledge the president, Richard, and his lovely wife, Holly. Also the board of trustees, faculty, administrative staff, and fellow alum. One of the things that I want to do very quickly here is talk about change, the appreciation for change. If you take from 1960 to 2019, there have been some major changes at the University of the Ozarks. Okay. There was a popular song in 1964 by a gentleman by the name of Sam Cooke, and he said, "A change is gonna come." If anybody remember that song? Okay. And I think some of the lyrics in that song pertain to today's environment that we exist today. And when he said, "It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, because I don't know where up there beyond the sky. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh yes, it will." He said, "I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Then I go to my brother and I said to my brother, 'Help me please.' But my brother wound up knocking me down on my bending knees. There have been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come." Now, I took those lyrics and I wanted to relate them to the University of the Ozarks, my alma mater, that I'm proud to say that I spent 4 years here. You know when you know that something is good and something has changed, your spirit tells you that. You know inside how you feel. And today, I gotta tell you all that I feel that a change has come to the University of the Ozarks. And I think we need to thank our new president for 7 years, Mr. Rich Dunworth, for being a change agent. You know, you can want to do change, but you got to have someone that's gonna make it difficult, gonna make it painful when you make those changes. Everybody not gonna like those changes, but the changes are for the best. I must say that while I was here, I gained an education. I learned some things. I majored in business administration and accounting. And I have people like David Rohauser, who was one of my mentors. I think David was a year ahead of me. Is David here? David, raise your hand. Oh, David. Great guy, y'all. Great guy, great person, okay? But the thing that I learned is that if you take your education seriously, and this is to the new students, the young students, you don't forget if you really learn what you've been taught. And I took my education and I applied it to my career. And I must say that it has been a very plentiful career. Now, I retired in 2013, and I said, what am I going to do with myself? So I decided to start a barbecue sauce business, just to keep myself busy. Back in the 80s and the 90s, we used to have parties at home, and we used to entertain ourselves. And I used to make this sauce, and people would say, "Hey man, where can I buy this?" And I said, "You can't, because I make it." So somebody said to me, "You need to do something with this." And I said, I'm too busy with my job. I don't have the time. But I said, well, when I retire, I would try to do something with this. And my wife's Jerry of 2 years said to me one day when I made something for her, she said, we need to do something with this. So it would be an honor for me to make this business a success and make it known to the world that I am an alum of the University of the Ozarks. Now, if I can connect those two, I think we got a winner here. Because it all started here for me. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to talk too much longer, but I would like to do some recognition. There's a young lady sitting over here and her husband, Miss Lavada and Coach Qualls. I've known them since I've been here. They were very instrumental to me in terms of putting their arms around me, a young kid coming from Georgia, not knowing anybody, but they put their arms around me and made me feel at home. They helped guide me. So what I would like to do for you is, give me the whole pen, please. I would like to give you a bottle of the Bible. Now, you know, you never know where you're going to get help from or what people think about you. But there's a young lady that thought enough of me to recommend my name to the board, to the college, to get this award. And I'm very thankful and grateful to her, and her name is Irene. As I said before, you know, you need somebody when you're in college to help you along. And this gentleman, you know, everybody knows him. He was the board of the trustee chairman, David Rojas. By the way, while he's coming, the name of the sauce is the company is A.B.C. Southern Barbecue Sauce. And A.B. is my initials. C is my wife. And last but not least, this is a gentleman that I think a great deal of. You know, when you got somebody who, an upperclassman that you admired and you looked up to, you have to say to yourself, boy, I wish I could be like him. None other than Sylvester Benson. Goes to him and his wife.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Last but not least, you mentioned I said something about a change agent. A change agent is someone who comes in, have ideas, and who want to make changes happen. Going to make it very difficult. But he also needs someone beside him who's going to be able to listen to his whining and saying, hey, I couldn't get this done today, and I need to get it done. Holly, where are you? having a last, okay? To none other folks than your president. Folks, I want to thank you all again. I want to thank the university for allowing me to come here and spend 4 years of my life. That has been very beneficial to me, that has made me feel like I'm at home. Thank you. By the way, the website is on there. I do have some cards, okay? Okay.
Good evening once again. I'm still George Pittenger. Paulette Neuenhoff, a 1980 graduate, is the recipient of the 2019 Alumni Achievement Award for outstanding recognition in her chosen professional field. Paulette is the executive director of the Arkansas Blood Institute, a nonprofit organization based in Little Rock that provides blood products and services to over 40 hospitals throughout the state. She is responsible for the overall operations of the blood bank and donor centers located in Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Hot Springs. A 1980 business administration graduate of Ozarks, she previously served as the business development director for the Poultry Federation. In addition to her management experience, Paulette has an extensive background in business development, public relations, and marketing in diverse industries, including healthcare, agriculture, and automotive. She was chosen for the 2018 Arkansas 250 list, which is Arkansas Business annual selection of people who are shaping the way we live, learn, and do business in the state. She currently serves as an honorary commander at the Little Rock Air Force Base and is serving a 3-year term on the university's alumni board. The youngest of 6 children, Paulette was born in Balikpapan, Indonesia. Due to the political climate, the family was compelled to move to the Netherlands. In 1961, the family immigrated to the United States. She has 2 daughters, Annika Bowman and Megan Toland, and 3 grandchildren, Hallie, Braden, and Jet. Paulette has been a lifelong Presbyterian in PCUSA and is proud of the relationship the denomination has with the university. She's engaged to the Reverend Dr. Jim Freeman. Ladies and gentlemen, Paulette Neuenhoff.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, George, for the introduction, and thank you to the Alumni Association Board for this honor. I'm very grateful. A funny thing happened to me on the way to this year's Ozarks Awards ceremony. 6 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with Bell's palsy, which is a temporary paralysis of one side of my face. My face was distorted, and it was difficult for me to smile, let alone speak. What's funny to me is that before this happened, Larry Ish, Ozarks Director of Public Relations, asked for a headshot for the brochure. You know, I sent him 4 different photos of me. I was not happy with how I looked. Then the Bell's palsy set in. I realized my appearance wasn't that important after all. It helped me reaffirm that what's important are my family, my friends, my faith in God, my U.S. citizenship, and yes, my education at the University of the Ozarks. Not only did Ozarks give me the education I needed, it gave me the confidence I needed to reaffirm what's important. It gave me confidence to jumpstart my career and to accomplish my personal and professional goal of helping others to be successful. I'm grateful to Ozarks who introduced me to lifelong friends who are among us tonight and who are no longer with us, such as the late Michael Rail, son of Bill and Maxine Rail, dear friends of the university. I'm grateful for those who are with me in tonight's celebration. My beautiful daughter, Annika Bowman, class of 2003, her daughter, Hallie, and her son, Braden. My beautiful daughter, Megan Tolan, class of 2006, her husband, Jared, and their son, Jed. My supportive fiance, Jim Freeman. I'm grateful for my sister, Judith Owens, class of 1969. Her husband is the late Bob Owens, class of 1972, and their daughter, Annette Workentine. My sister, Louise Simmons, class of 1971, and her husband, Greg, class of 1968. Our dear family friend, Judy Houston, whose 3 children graduated from the Ozarks, Tina, Sharon, and Carl Minden. I'm grateful for my high school friend, Janico, who attended Ozarks with me along with Julie Kersey, both from the class of 1980, Julie's husband, Randy. Barbara Lewis, class of 1979, and her husband, Fred, class of 1977. And my dear friends, Stephanie and Kendall Pendergraft. And those were all the rowdy friends that I brought with me tonight. Thank you. I'm grateful for this beautiful evening on campus tonight, grateful to be alongside Alumni Award recipients A.B. Blocker and Bo Thomas, the Sports Hall of Fame inductees, and the donors recognized tonight for their support of our university. As I look around the room, I realize there are many individuals who also deserve this recognition, and I'm grateful to you for your achievements. Collectively, we have achieved so much and given back to our communities, and the beauty of this is that we still can. I'm grateful for my late parents, Joseph and Antoinette Van de Nieuwenhof, who were brave enough to bring our family to the United States 58 years ago. If they were here with us tonight, they would join me in saying, "To God be the glory." Thank you.
Well, that was great. I love this. Great awards and great, it's great to hear all the neat things that everybody has reflected upon. And so now I'd like to ask Lori McBee to come up and give a few more awards. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Lori McBee, and I serve as Vice President for Advancement and Alumni Engagement at the university. We really appreciate you being with us tonight. Our next award is called the Emerging Philanthropist Award, and we have 2 of those tonight. So I'm going to read a little bit of information and ask one of our recipients to come up. Our first award, Our first award goes to Dr. Kendall Wagner. Kendall graduated from Ozarks in 2006 and is a primary care physician in Fort Smith, Arkansas. He is a native of Waldron, Arkansas, and was the recipient of the university's Hury Award in 2006 as the outstanding member of the senior class. He went on to earn his medical degree from the University of Arkansas for medical sciences. He completed a residency program in internal medicine, pediatrics, leading a specialized board certification in both adult and pediatric care. He and his wife, Kathy, have 2 children, Avery and Grayson. Please welcome Kendall.
Well, I do not have any barbecue sauce to hand out. No, I'm very honored and feel so undeserving. I was thinking before I came up, very grateful for the education that I received at University of the Ozarks and for the investment that the University of Ozarks made in me. I was a recipient of scholarships here and went to school here on scholarships. And so after finishing and leaving, that has been something that has been important to me to be able to give back to the scholarship fund and to help give other young men and women who are coming from small towns in Arkansas the chance to a quality education and a great launch pad. I was sharing with a young lady that was sitting with us at the table tonight that when I ended up in medical school, I felt that I was as prepared or more prepared than anyone else in the room because of my education at University of the Ozarks. And Sir Isaac Newton said, if I've seen further than any man, it's because I was standing on the shoulders of giants. And I definitely feel that way about professors that I had here, Dr. Coleman, Dr. Knight, Dr. Jeffries. I know Dr. Jeffries has gone on and is no longer with us, but those gentlemen definitely invested in my life. And then I was given the opportunity to lead while I was here in Student Foundation Board and student government. Miss Sherry Airy, I don't know if she's here, but gave me the opportunity to be involved in leadership and get to interact with a lot of familiar faces that I see out here tonight. A lot of the alumni and a lot of the board members. I got to know you guys very well and made great connections that have not only benefited me, but have been fruitful in my life. And I look forward to being involved with the university and with you guys in the future. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the honor.
Our second recipient of this award goes to Dr. Eric Steinmiller. Eric graduated from Ozarks in 2002, is an educator and school administrator. He is a native of Arkadelphia, Arkansas, and has served as a teacher and administrator in Texas, Louisiana, and Illinois, where he is currently an assistant principal at Theodore Roosevelt High School in Chicago. Eric earned a master's degree in art history from the University of North Texas and his doctorate in education in urban education and leadership from the University of Illinois at Chicago. He and his wife Jacqueline resides in Chicago. Please welcome Eric.
Sorry, I laughed because I had hair and I saw the photo. I couldn't really remember what that looked like anymore. So I'm just kind of curious, who in this room is a current student? Just raise your hand. Current students. Awesome, awesome. All right. Who in this room is an alumni? Awesome. How about faculty, staff, everybody here to support everyone? Okay, cool. So I've been doing a lot of reflection. So I used to give tours out here to prospective students, and I always spoke about finding the right fit. And so I started to think about what makes Ozarks the right fit for all of us, because we're here for a reason. Then all the thoughts and memories came flooding in. I had an 11-hour drive from Chicago, so it made it pretty easy to think about that, and it made the trip fly by. So what was it about Ozarks? And then it became very clear. It was family, experiences, and opportunities. When I got my letter about this honor, I put it on the fridge like an 8-year-old. All those thoughts about my family, my experiences, opportunities at Ozarks filled replenished my soul with that letter. Now my parents couldn't be here because of my mom's health, so I texted my Ozarks family. You see, Ozarks blessed me with a group of brothers from our years playing soccer together, being able to start a new sports program here. In fact, 10 or 12 of us came together from Austria, New York, California to canoe in the boundary waters of Canada this summer. It was a miracle we made it back. In fact, Sagala and I almost sank a few times. You see, that's what Ozarks has given to me, family. Los, my friend here, every time I see him, and we have too much fun, and he steals my hats, but every time I'm with him, he refers to me, his family, as, Tio Eric. And that means something to me, because his family is my family. Sagala drops everything for everyone to be there for you. He's even turning around first thing in the morning to drive back to his state so he doesn't miss his kid's soccer game. David Strain has been a second father to me. Sometimes more like Auntie Mame, but he instilled a passion for lifelong learning and thinking. Every time I see his new students on Facebook put on his Harvard robe, I see that little glimmer in their eye of the great things that will come next. You see, Ozarks gives us access to diverse cultures and communities and experiences. I'm elated to see the richness of our diversity grow. Access to people provides us with opportunities. Opportunities to grow as individuals and as a community. President Dunsworth is doing a remarkable job of providing access and opportunity for all students, regardless of gender, color, financial situations, experiences, or lack thereof. Opportunities to learn as individuals and become enriched academically, culturally, and socio-emotionally. Ozarks gives, it shares, it provides access to family and opportunities for everyone. Not very often do you see that a school gives 98% of its students support to experience what we have experienced. That is why future alumni, current alumni, faculty, staff, significant others, and family who have been roped into this family, whether you knew it or not, I call on all of us to support Ozarks in any way you can. That could be financial contributions, donations of time, celebrating Ozarks by word of mouth. I get a text about every 2 weeks from an alum sharing the new happenings here. Or recruiting that kid who just isn't quite sure who he or she wants to be yet. Because Ozarks has shared and blessed me and all of you with a family with numerous experiences and continued opportunities that just don't exist at other places. We are all charged to make sure that others have that same opportunity that we have had and that that legacy continues. Thank you.
Our next award is also a newly established award. The Community Champion Award was established to honor extraordinary individuals, organizations, and businesses that have demonstrated exceptional generosity in support of the university's mission and who have inspired others to give similarly. The goal for this award is to recognize those who are true champions of the University of the Ozarks and whose works and actions help advance the university. Because of the help and partnership on numerous projects that have benefited both the university and the community, I am honored to announce that the first recipient of this award goes to Clarksville Connected Utilities, formerly known as Clarksville Light and Water. Clarksville Connected Utilities has collaborated with the university on numerous projects over the past couple of years, including saving the university more than $100,000 in labor and equipment services during the construction of the new Alexander Borum tennis facility. CCU has also assisted the university in the installation of new HVAC loads on top of the campus buildings, underground boring services, and the implementation of a dedicated ultra-high-speed fiber optic network on campus. Please welcome John Lester, General Manager for CCU, and Crystal Thompson, CCU Board Chair and Principal at Pyron Elementary School.
have certainly not prepared any special words, but what I can say is it's really, really a wonderful award to receive. It's not very often a municipally owned utility would be recognized in this way. One thing that I can really say about Clarksville and University of the Ozarks that I found very, very, very unique, and I've been in several communities. In some communities, the county government and the city government, and if there's a small liberal arts college, oftentimes just don't figure out how to get along. And one of the unique things about Clarksville, Arkansas is all of us anchor institutions, including the hospital, actually get together and collaborate and work together, which is a very, very unique attribute. So thank you very much for the award. We're happy to serve the community of Clarksville and the University of the Ozarks, and I'm sure there'll be some other project we'll be working on together. So thank you very much.
I would just like to thank John Lester and his leadership for the Clarksville Connected Utilities. Since Mr. Lester came into town, our partnerships with these anchor institutions, including the university, have just grown. And as a member of one of the schools in town, I can tell you that, what he's doing at the utility with the fiber network is just incredible. So we're very grateful to Mr. Lester for his leadership.
All right. The mission of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee is to provide a means of communication for students, athletes, for the issue that affects their lives in and out of the field of competition. Members and affiliates of the SAAC also stand in leadership roles amongst their teams and peers, especially in terms of service or activity on and off the campus. I'd like to recognize now, if you are an SAAC representative, if you would please stand. Thank you. I'll ask now the world famous Jimmy Clark to come up here, but as he does this, I'd like to also recognize the Sports Hall of Fame committee that was selecting these recipients. And if you are here and you are on that committee, if you would please stand.
Hey, it is my privilege to acknowledge the 2019 Hall of Fame class. It's kind of unique. I guess I've been here a while because I remember Eric, and got a lot of what I call kids that are not kids anymore here in the room, and it's always awesome to see them come back with family and just see how they're doing, and so really enjoyed tonight. The first Hall of Fame member that I would like to acknowledge is Bill Ballard. Bill Ballard was a coach after he left here. He was a 3-year letterman in both basketball and baseball. He was the AIC Pitcher of the Year in '56. He coached men's basketball at Ozark from '57 to '60. And then he helped start the UALR basketball program as the first head coach and athletic director from 1960 to 1965. And then he was also inducted into the UALR Sports Hall of Fame in 2019. So it was my privilege to bring up Bill Ballard. I'll bring it to you.
I'd like to say to the committee that selected me that you will never, ever select a more appreciative candidate for this than Bill Ballard. Ever, ever, ever. And for the people that, my family and friends that are over here, those two tables, son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, great-granddaughters, my 98-year-old cousin, Harold Pickarts. You cannot believe the trip that got me here, and you have to know. The people at Ozarks that knew me growing up, they'd die knowing I'm here. They would never have dreamed it. But I need to back up first and tell you why I was able to be here. Harold Pickarts knows the situation. You don't know the story, Harold. But Bobby Pesterfield and I decided we'd go squirrel hunting up on Adams Mountain and come out to Uncle Leon's house, and he'd bring us in. After a while, we had no squirrels, so we decided we'd start shooting cans. And then we did other things, and we came up to this old abandoned house. And there was this window like this with that, and, you know, in the middle. And we decided we would shoot. I decided, Bobby, let's see if we can shoot that center thing out without hitting the other parts. He said, okay. And I said, wait a minute, Bobby. Let's go look and see what's in there. See if there's any furniture or whatever. And see we'll go up there and walk and look in there. And here's an old gray-haired woman in a rocking chair. She looked like Whistler's mother. Why did I say, Bobby, let's go look in there and see what we were going to shoot? What would have happened to Bill Ballard, because I was going to shoot first, and I'm a good shot, if I had shot through there and hit that old gray-haired woman? Think about it. I was at Ozark a few years ago, and I needed to cash a check, so obviously I have Bank of the Ozarks, and so I go in Bank of the Ozarks. And as always, I do eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and pick somebody, and it kind of makes it fun. So I go in and I start talking, and I say I'm from Ozarks. I graduated here in 1948, and she said, did you ever know Bobby Pesterfield and Nadine Dyer? I said, I sure did. She said, I'm their daughter. Somebody explained to me how eeny, meeny, miny, mo was Nadine Dyer. You all know. And so with that, I graduated in 1948. I had never seen a basketball game until the 9th grade. And the reason I saw that is because I was walking home from the Spectator office one night where I was working, and I was in the 8th grade, and the gym was wild, and I said, what's going on? And Johnny Hopper said, well, they're having a basketball tournament. I said, what all's in there? I'd never seen no basketball. He said, well, there's blah, 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 and showers. And I went crazy. I said, showers, because I'd been used to a number 3 wash tub in the back room. And the rim is cold whenever it hits you in the back, too. The next year, I started playing basketball the second day of school because we didn't have to worry about when it started. And I graduated and had no chance of going to college at all. I had sent $10 to Tech, and they sent it back to me. But I was playing town. We had a town team, and Billy Rubel from Ratcliffe, who was playing for the Detroit Pistons, played with us some and kind of helped me a little bit, and I started to improve in basketball with those town teams. And I was playing baseball with the city team, and I'd never played a baseball game until 10th grade. But I figured out how to put that finger on that ball, and I still have the last ball I ever pitched here. But anyway, somebody from Clarksville said to Coach Kuhn, there's a kid at Ozark that is improving, and you might want to look at him as a basketball player and maybe a baseball player. Coach Kuhn comes up and talks to me, and Harold Pickards is with me. And he said, I'd like for you to come down and try out. And he asked Harold, said, you play baseball and basketball too? And he said, yeah. He said, you come too. Well, we came down, and in the old field house out here, we worked out, and he offered both of us a scholarship. Well, Picard's 28 years old and has a kid, and he's not about to leave him to come down here. And of course, I hugged him and kissed Coach Kuhn until he was embarrassed to death. Anyway, I got to come, and I played 1 year, and the Army called, but I remember the last game that we played, and I got to play with Gail Condart. And if you don't know who Gail Condart is, he's the best coach in Arkansas has ever had, in my opinion. Anyway, I remember the last game, I rebounded a ball, even with the goal. I know you think I'm lying, but I'm telling you the truth. And Coach Kuhn said, you know, you're going to really do well this next year. And I did, because I was in a rice paddy in Korea, and we had 4 guns, and my gun section won our tournament. But while I was in the Army, I got to play with some good people like Ted Owens from Kansas and other people. And we came in 3rd place in the World Army at Fort Meade, Maryland. And then I came back here for 2 years, and I played baseball and basketball. But on my senior year, I got married, and Cindy's mother was working at the REA in Ozarks, and I was on GI Bill. But I got a call from Mr. Metcalf at Cold Hill, said, I need to talk to you. And I said, well, Mr. Metcalf, what about? He said, well, I want you to come teach 9th grade science, coach boys basketball and girls basketball, and junior boys. And I asked him something I would not normally do, and I said, what will it pay? I'm against doing that kind of stuff. He said $1,000, and I thought he said $1 million. So I did do that. I was only carrying 18 hours, and I was exec officer at the National Guard at Ozarks, and met every Monday night. So I go and I do that, and comes baseball season. Well, Fritz Aaron, who's a baseball coach, and I were freshmen together, and I talked to him. I said, Fritz, I'd really like to play baseball, but you know what I've got going, everything. He said, yeah, but if you can work it out, I'll let you do it, and you just come. And the rest of it's history. We won the AIC, and I happened to be the winning pitcher of the conference, and I was thrilled to death. And I've been associated with the university forever, since I was 15 years old when I was a youth at the camp. Here, I have led the Alumni Association. I've done a lot of different things. I'm an 1834 member, and you all know what that is, I'm sure. And I encourage you to do the same thing. There's a scholarship, endowed scholarship to the Jones Center for those students alone in the name of Bill and Juanita Ballard, and I'm thrilled to do that, and I'll always be a supporter. But I again want to thank you for my privilege of being here, and you'll never, ever regret adding me to the roll.
Second member of the class of 2019, Coach Ronnie Cookson. Coach Cookson won 13 state boys basketball championships, including 7 straight. Let me say that again, in Missouri. 13 state championships. Coached 29 years as the boys basketball coach at Scott County Central High School in Missouri. His overall record was 694 and 137. That's an .835 winning percentage. He led the program to 22 conference titles and 22 district titles. He was named Missouri's Coach of the Year 9 times by the Missouri's Basketball Coaches Association. Scott County Gym was named in his honor, and he was inducted into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame in 1991. Coach Ronnie Cookson.
I really appreciate this. I want to thank everyone responsible for it. And I'd like to introduce my friends back there, Sylvester, Bob Chance and Mary Ann, Carol and Roselle, my brother and sister-in-law, and their son Steve, and my wife of 53 years from University of the Ozarks, Dee. We've been married. Her name was Hooks, is what her maiden name was, so that's why she hooked me. Is what she did. But I really enjoyed it the time I spent down here, and I met so many friends and stuff, and at one time we had 5 coaches in southeast Missouri that had went to college in this area, and they was all coaching down there. So, and all of them from Ozarks is what I'm trying to say, and we really enjoyed it, and I did. I mean, I really appreciate everything that the College of Ozarks done for me. Thank you.
This time we'd like to recognize Charles Daniel. Charles was a baseball pitcher. In 1957, he became the only former Ozarks baseball player to play in the Major League Baseball game. He was signed by the Detroit Tigers. He played baseball, football, and basketball while here. He pitched a total of 8 seasons in the minor leagues before retiring in 1961. The hard-throwing right-hander's fastball was once clocked at 95 miles an hour. His son is here to represent him. This time, I'd like to bring Robin up.
I just want to thank the U of O just for giving my dad a chance to play baseball in college, giving him a foundation that put him on a road that I was extremely proud of him. I was very, glad to be his son. He gave me a lot of ambitions. He just could do anything and do it well, do it, better than most. For the example, he came to the cell. He went to a little rural school. They didn't have football there. He walked on here and he went out, said, well, he liked all sports, all games. He went out and got on the football team. They put him at tight end, but that's when they had my Uncle Fritz Aaron and Robert Aaron at running back. He said all they had to do is hand it to Fritz about twice off left tackle, once off right tackle, and then they'd hand it to Robert around the end, and it was successful. Very few people could stop them. Daddy was a great, any kid would be proud if their dad played, baseball. I was lucky enough to get to see. I was 5 years old when he quit playing. Last 2 years were with the Travelers. It was still neat to go out as a 4 and 5 year old to play pepper, play catch with your dad on a professional baseball, field. He installed. Just you can compare baseball to life in a bunch of ways, and I thought he did a good job, and I'm thankful for the U of O for giving him the foundation for starting. He went here 2 years, then he came back after after quit playing in 61 is 68 for, I think he started back taking classes down here, drive from Springdale down here, one class at a time for about 4 or 5 years with correspondence, one class at a time to take the test. After two more years, he got his other 2 years in to get his degree. So again, not only for my dad, but for the U of O, my uncles, aunts, all the Blackards, to them, CO and Glenda here, are some of the Blackards from Clarksville. Hilda Blackards back is at the table. My wife Lynn, nephew Austin Baker is representing my sister's side of the family. She's from South Carolina and couldn't get out this far, but Daddy, anybody could tell you, was an awfully good example for you to how to attack things. A good friend and well thought of by everybody he ran to. Even as after baseball, he spent 38 years as a salesman with International Harvester, and again still run through more and more people that would say they were proud to have known him. And like I say, it has to come from a foundation, his little rural upbringings, and what U of O. I keep wanting to call it the C of O because back then all I knew it was the College of the Ozarks, and it's been 20 years or more, I guess, since it's been the University of the Ozarks. But again, very thankful for everybody connected, and I want to say a special. The only name I've heard more and more stories from him about Lonnie Qualls and Jerry Wagner and some names like that I want to slip by and say hello to you before the evening's over.
This time, I'd like to recognize Mandy Carter Cook. She was a women's basketball forward, one of the most prolific scorers in U of O women's basketball history. She finished second all-time with 1,538 career points. She was second at Ozarks in career rebounding with 826. She was a 4-time all-conference player, all-region honors from D3Hoops.com. She was voted to ESPN The Magazine Academic All-District Team. In her career, she averaged 15 points, 8 rebounds, and over 1 block a game. She also lettered in 3 soccer seasons, and she was the Female Athlete of the Year 3 times. This time, Mandy Carter Cook.
So I just wanted to start by saying I feel like it was just meant to be that I became an Ozarks student. I grew up 2 blocks from here, jumping on the trampoline in the backyard, seeing the Munger Chapel, hearing the bells, counting what time it is, how many times it rings. So when I came here as a freshman, it just felt like home already. Everybody was so welcoming. I always felt wanted. I always felt like somebody wanted to help me succeed and do better. After high school, I was recruited to come play basketball and gained many friends and teammates that are still my lifelong friends today. Got one here tonight, big supporter. I love that this a small school with big plans for each of their students. All of the faculty and staff put everything they can into making each student as successful as they can be and arm them with everything they need to go out into the world and be successful. I wanted to say thank you to the Alumni Board and any of the committees that were involved in the nomination for me. Sorry, my voice is so shaky. It's really an honor to get this award and to be on the wall with all the other nominees and past Hall of Famers. Thank you to my parents who have always been there to support me. My mom's always making game tapes and radio tapes for me to listen to. I used to fall asleep listening to old basketball games. my dad for all the traveling, every game, out of state, at home, back and forth, from all my grandparents for the love and support. My little sister has kind of been my sidekick. Thank you for my family, my husband here tonight. Sorry, everyone. My 4 wonderful kids, my nieces and nephews. Thank you, everybody who's here tonight. And I just wanted to say it's such an honor again. And to all of the current Ozarks Eagles out there, just good luck in all your endeavors. Thank you.
All right, this time, Mr. Robbie Fennell played baseball for me. I was the only guy I ever knew that just wanted to hit. He didn't really want to play in the field, and he didn't have any qualms about that. Coach just let me hit. So he was named to the D3Baseball.com All-America second team in 2008. He was also named to ESPN The Magazine Academic All-America first team. And in my recollection, I think that may be the only first team academic All-American we've had in the D3 time. Remains the program's all-time leader in career games started at 160, home runs 31, RBIs 159, and then walks 73. He's second in career hits, runs scored third, and slugging percentage he's third. He also holds the season record in RBIs. He had 56 in 2008, and second in home runs, 13 that year. He is also a 3-time All-ASC selection. Robbie Fennell.
Well, I didn't write a speech. I did enough of that here to last a lifetime. I guess Coach Clark didn't really know who I was. I actually answered a blanket pamphlet that was sent to an inner city Tulsa high school, and I'm like, well, no one else has said anything yet, so I might as well fill this out. And I guess a few months later, you know, he sent his hawk, Coach Harris, to Tulsa numerous times, and I'm like, well, he obviously cares. So I went ahead and chose here. I wanted to go somewhere I could play for 4 years, and due to some unfortunate decisions by other players, I actually got to start as a freshman because I wasn't the best one, but they, lucky for me, made some awful choices. And I benefited greatly. I also had the privilege of having a really good advisor and mentor who, you know, never shied away from being honest with any kind of decisions that I made, and that was Dr. Dipple. I went to him after my first set of midterms, kind of freaking out, going, I don't know if I can make it. Got a C- in a class, and he told me that that was my fault for choosing that class. And he made sure that I did not make any more of those decisions after the first semester. But I thank my family for supporting me and listening to several of those phone calls, you know, about how hard college was, because the school was actually a lot harder than the baseball. And it's, you know, actually made the real world a lot easier. I still haven't written into any tests as difficult as the ones. I've actually had more multiple choice tests in my working life than I have when I was at this school, which, you know, was probably for the best. You know, I think Coach Clark, he definitely, he didn't really yell at me all that much. He just kind of let me do my thing, and, you know, he went to somebody else. But he taught me that you don't have to curse in life to get your point across. I learned that the word bunk will get you kicked out of a game. I also would like to thank the committee for not holding getting kicked out of senior day against me when they did their voting. That was my bad. The umpire thought I said something that I actually didn't say, but he went ahead and went on with his decision. And then I had to miss the next game, which was the last home game that we had, so that was pretty upsetting. But again, I'm kind of happy to be up here because I wanted my son down there in the purple shirt playing with my badge to know that Daddy actually was good at something in life. My wife's family, when I told her I was being inducted, they actually said, you were good? And I told them I had my moments. But the school, I kind of feel like everything's came full circle. I feel like, men's league softball is not all that I had now. And this kind of just, I'm really honored to be up here. And I'm honored that I get to share it with my wife, my kids, my family. And I just want to thank everybody. So, thank you.
This time, I'd like to honor Olivia Fisher-Bickford. Olivia played tennis. She was our #1 singles player in doubles for 4 years. She remains 3rd in career singles victories, 4th in career doubles victories, and 4th in singles winning percentage. She was named the ASC East Division Tennis Player of the Year in 2008. She was a 4-year starter in basketball, earned ASC All-Freshman honors in 2004, 2005. She also was at All ASC, All East Honorable Mention honors twice. She ranks 4th in career rebounding. In soccer, she was also a 4-year starter. So three sports here, folks. Olivia Fisher.
I'll be honest, I'm on the same page as Robbie. I really didn't prepare anything, but I do want to say thank you so much to Ozarks for giving me a fantastic experience while I was here. And I want to say thank you to my family who has always supported me, and to one of my best friends, Lee Short, who is also an alum and played tennis with me throughout these many years. And thank you so much, all the other alumni, for being a part of this experience, giving each and every one of the inductees and the honorees those wonderful opportunities to succeed in life and to succeed in our endeavors and everything we do. Thank you.
Yes, that's it.
Wow, let's give another round of applause for all the recipients tonight. Whew, we made it through this, right? So, we got a few more things going on tonight. There's a concert. I don't know if you can already kind of hear some music going on. There's going to be a concert at the mall starting at about 8 o'clock if you want to kick off your shoes and hang out for a while. And quite a few activities tomorrow, starting with Breakfast with the President, if you haven't signed up for that yet. There's a lot of activities. There's an Alumni Association meeting tomorrow at 9. Great to see you all at that. And then there's lots of activities, carnival and fun for the whole family to be there out at Huey Field tomorrow afternoon. Taste of Arkansas is at the President's house in the yard, and it looks like the rain's been moved out of the forecast, so I think it'll be a great night tonight for that. I want to thank again all the recipients for their award and for being here. I appreciate all the presenters helping out with that. If you did receive an award, we would like to take some more pictures, and like pictures with your family. So you and your family, if you would go into the lounge, which is the room right next door. It's now a lounge. It's where we have the food, but you'll have to go out and go back around. And then we'll do some family photos and stuff for you all. So be sure and go over that way. And I think that is all about it. I'm so glad that y'all are here tonight. coming home. It's always good, whether this is your first time back on campus after a while, or you come back all the time, or you live right down the street. We are always happy when everybody's here, and I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I hope you all travel safely home tonight, wherever that home is, and remember, you are always home when you come here. Good night.